I'm going to let you know how you can use Audition to burn an audio CD. If you want to follow along, you can bring any old collection of files into the Files panel. These guys all came from the Just Too Hard to Find subfolder, all a bunch of tracks from that recording session. Now, you've probably burned an audio CD many times, and you probably have used software other than Audition. That's okay, there are plenty of ways to burn CDs, but Audition has a few cool features that I think are worth checking out. Now, you know what happens when you put a recordable CD inside your CD or DVD recorder. You get a little message that pops up on your screen, or it opens up some software automatically. For example, if you put a blank CD inside your drive inside Windows, you probably get an autoplay display like this. And then you run off and burn your CD using any kind of software that's already on your computer. Well, when you get this, just close it down if you're going to do it in Audition. So there are two approaches to burning an audio CD from within Audition. One is to burn a single audio file, and the other is to put a whole bunch of files onto a CD. So we'll take a look at the single file approach first. Now you may be asking, why would I want to burn one file to a CD? Well, let's say you've recorded a concert, and there are 10, 20 songs in that concert, and you've got them all in a multi-track session. You've worked really hard to make it sound great. And then you want to let the client hear a CD of that recording so they can, decide whether they like the reverb or the mix or whatever. So you can make a CD of that single file, which is fine on its own, but that means the client has to fast forward through the darn thing to try to find all the various cuts. Well, the cool thing you can do in Audition is to create multiple tracks from a single clip. Let me show you how you do that. First of all, I need to mark where each clip begins and ends. If you just go over here and mark the beginning, let's say right there at that start, you want that to be the beginning of a track. Then if you press the M key, that adds a marker. I'd rather add a special kind of marker called a CD track marker. If I right click on this, it says change marker type, and I can change it to a CD track. Now it's a CD track marker. That on its own is not enough to have this be the beginning of a CD track. I need to tell Audition where the beginning and the end are. To do that, I need to turn this marker, the CD track marker, into a range. So now it's a CD track marker range. If I drag the right side, that says where the ending point is for that range. So let's say I'll just have the ending point be there. I mean, normally I would, find the exact spot, but here I'm just using this for an example. So now we've created a track. It'll go from there to there. Let's create another one. We just take the current time indicator, put it anywhere we want. It doesn't have to be at the end, although it's a logical place to put it if we're trying to do this for a client. So to put it at the end, I just click this little button here that jumps to the next marker. I can add a marker there. This time I'm going to do a keyboard shortcut to add a CD track marker. That's Shift M. Instead of just M, it's Shift M, and it's called a CD track marker. Now notice over here it says marker, here it says CD track marker, but in fact they are one and the same. They're both CD track markers. If you look over here inside the markers panel, the first one's called marker, the second one's called CD track marker. It's just the order in which we made things. We made this one first as a marker, then converted it to a CD track marker, and then converted it to a range. Here we made this as a CD track marker from the get-go, and now we're going to convert it to a range. If you move this little scroll bar over a little bit to the right, you'll see it says CD track is the type for both. I'm going to extend this out so you can see that all the way like that. There we go. Kind of slide it back there. There we go. All right, let's just turn this one into a range. So I right-click on it and say convert to range. And now there it's a range. I can drag it to the right. There you go. If you look down on the markers panel, notice how the duration and the end is changing as I drag this one to the right. There we go, I've made a second one. Now if I want to do a whole collection of markers that mark each track, I can do it a different way and make it kind of go a little bit faster. I'm going to undo this work by going Control Z a couple times or Command Z. That's one way to do it, or I could just click on the marker here or multiple markers and click on the little garbage can here and delete them. I'm going to start over again and show you another way to do this. Let's say I want this to be a marker here. So I just press the M key. Go down a little bit farther, M key. A little bit farther, M. These are all, let's say, tracks down to the end here, right to the end, M. So now I've marked the beginning and the end and a bunch of tracks in between. So it'll be track 1, track 2, track 3, track 4, track 5. If I marquee select these and right click on them and say merge the markers, that will make these ranges for each one. It's a quick way to turn all those individual markers into marker ranges. And now that they're turned into marker ranges, I can convert them into CD track ranges by going down these drop-down lists one after the other like that. You can't do them all at once. You got to do them one at a time. So that's just another way to turn these markers into ranges and then into CD track markers. Now, one of the things that Adobe did to try to help you distinguish between a regular marker and a CD marker was making their colors different. If I go over here and add a new marker, just press M, you'll notice that the color is different, but just may not jump off the screen at you as being different. So what I want to do is have you change the preferences to make sure you know when you've got a CD marker as opposed to a regular marker, or what's called a Q marker. So let's go to Preferences, Edit or Adobe Edition, Preferences, and go to Appearance. In Appearance, it has all these colors, and one of them will be CD track markers. If you click on that, you can pick an entirely different marker. So for our purposes, we'll make sure it's really obvious that it's different. Go down here to red. And now I'll say OK. And now, OK. Those are definitely CD markers. This is definitely not one. I'll click on it. I can right click and say delete marker, or I can go over to the markers panel, click on it over here, and then press the garbage can. So now we know we've got a bunch of CD markers, and they're all range markers. They have to be range markers to create the tracks. And by the way, they can overlap. If I go over here and click, make a marker there, press M, and I turn that into a range marker, for example, convert to range. And I drag the range past that point like that, and then say, now convert that to a CD marker. So I right click and turn it into a CD track. I've now created a range that overlaps, but that's okay. It's called marker 9 here. The one thing I can't do is have marker 9 or track, whatever that is, come last. It has to go in the order of the marker. So it's now going to be the second track that plays, despite the fact that it was the 6th track that I made. So that's how you take a clip and split it up into tracks. Now that you've done this work, it's time to burn the CD. To do that, go File, Export, Burn Audio to CD. And you get this little message. And it's a nice thing that you get this message. It says there are CD track range markers in this file. Each range marker will be burned to the CD as a track without a pause between tracks. There you go. It says if you want to really just burn a single file, then remove the track ranges. Well, clearly we did this on purpose. We're happy to have this happen, so we click OK. It opens up this basic dialog box to burn an audio CD. It's pretty straightforward. You can accept the defaults and just click OK, as long as you've got a recordable CD inside your drive. And off you go. So that's how you take a single file and then burn it to a CD with separate tracks. If you didn't put separate tracks, you could just burn it straight to CD without making the tracks, and that's fine too. All right, let's move on. What I want to do now is make a CD from multiple files. So to do that, let me just get rid of these markers first to avoid any confusion there. I'll just marquee select them and press the little garbage can. All those markers are gone. I want to make a CD from these files here. There are a couple ways to go about doing that. You can go File, New, CD Layout. I put the CD layout here in the Files panel. What I can do now is I can select any number of these files. I can click on the first one and shift click on the last one, just drag them all in there. Now we can start working on making the CD. I'm going to press Ctrl or Command Z to undo that. I'll show you the other way to do things. If I were to select all these files and then right click and go insert into CD layout, I could make a new CD layout, or I could put them in the current untitled CD layout. So I'll do that. So a couple of ways to do that. Either just select a bunch, right click and make a new CD layout, or go File, New CD Layout. That way, then just add the files. Once the files are here, you can rearrange them simply by dragging them. If I want snare to come first, I just click on that and drag it up, and you can see a little black line that indicates where it's going to go. I can put it head of bass. Notice that the first track has a 2-second pause. You can't change that. That's by default. This is called the Red Book Audio Standard, which is an audio standard to make audio CDs. And it's always a 2-second lead-in to the first track, but the rest of them can have pauses of any duration you choose. Now the default pause is 0 seconds. It's default because that was set inside Preferences. Let's just take a look at that. Go to Edit or Adobe Edition, Preferences, then go to Markers and Metadata. And here it says Default CD Track Pause. Now notice it's 0 here, and it shows up as 0 over here. When we burn the CD from a single file, there's no pause between those tracks, whether this is set to anything other than 0 or not. The little amount here has nothing to do with the pauses between the tracks on the single file audio CD. This has to relate to how these guys go. If I change this now to, let's say, 2 seconds, this is seconds over there, the last thing is frames, so I click OK there, this won't change. I'll have to, let's say, delete that, start over again, make a new one. So I'll select all of them again, and on the bottom and right click and say insert into CD layout, new CD layout. And now there'll be a 2-second pause between each one. No matter what the pause is, you can change this by just holding the scrubby over it, raising it like that, changing it like so. And that'll change the start and the end for all the subsequent ones as well. See how that works? Here, once you have things set up, you've got the pauses that you want. These are arranged the way you want them to be arranged. You then go down and click on Burn Audio to CD, and you get that same dialog box you saw before, very straightforward. Put a CD inside there, and click OK, and you are off. You will burn a CD. Now, you can always save these CD layouts if you just go File, Save As. You'll be able to save this as what's called a CDLX file, a CD layout file. And you can save this just like you'd save a multi-track session file. You can always come back and open this up again. And all these files will be lined up there as long as Audition can find those files. They're the same place they were before. And you can start from this place and do any changes that you want to do to it, add more files to it, take them out, whatever you want to do. Let's say you don't want this file in there. You just select it and press the delete key. It takes it out. Any file you want out, you can just click it, press the delete key or the backspace key, and it's out. Add 2 instances of the same one, like organ write twice. You can add organ write twice. So that's 2 ways to make CDs, one with multiple files like this, or a single file where you can have multiple tracks within that single file.